Hello, I am Tracy Whitfield and I will be doing a necklace tutorial for the Potomac Bead Company. This is my AVA Allure necklace design, and this was the winning design from the Potomac Bead Company's Spring 2017 Design Challenge. To make this necklace, we are going to need some Potomac exclusive beads. We'll need some AVA beads, and I'll be using the Aztec gold color. We're going to need some RounDuo beads, and I'll be using the Aztec gold color in that as well. We're going to need some DiscDuo beads, and I will be using the Golden Touch Regal, which this is like a purplish color. We're going to need some 3x4mm rondelles, and I'll be using the Potomac Crystal rondelles. I'm going to use two colors. One will be the metallic gold, and the other one will be the Tanzanite. We're also going to need some Toho Demi rounds in the 8/0 size, and I'll be using the gold luster amethyst color. We'll need some 15/0 C beads, and I am going to be using the Miyuki Duracoat gold color. For clasps, I'm going to use a cup button, and I'm going to use the Crystal Aztec gold color for that as well. We're going to need some needle and thread. This is actually a 2-needle project, so I'm going to be using size 11 beading needles, and for my beading thread, I'll be using the Wildfire .006 in the green color. You'll need something to cut your thread, and I'm going to use my thread zap to cut my thread as well as burn down the ends when I tie off my threads. So let's gather our materials to make this design. To start our project, you'll want to work with a comfortable length of beading thread. I have approximately 1.5 yards of my Wildfire beading thread, and on each end of the thread I place one needle. We want to start off by picking up with our right needle. We're going to pick up one DiscDuo by going through one of those holes, and we're going to center our DiscDuo onto our thread. Okay, once we have the DiscDuo centered on our thread, I'm going to place one needle to the side, and with my right needle I'm going to pick up one 15/0 seed bead, and I'll let that drop down. And then I'm going to pick up an AVA bead. Now when working with the AVA beads, you have a hole that's at the point or the tip of the AVA bead. I'm going to refer to that as the top hole, and then there's two holes that are on either side of the bottom of the bead. So these will be the two bottom holes. We want to pick up the AVA bead such that we're going through one of the bottom holes, and we'll let that drop down. And here we're going to pick up a Demi round. We're going to pick up one of our Rondelle beads, and the color I'm going to be picking up right now is the Tanzanite color. And then we're going to pick up another Demi round, and we'll let those beads drop down. And now we want to go through the second hole of the same AVA bead. So go through that second bottom hole. And those 3 beads will sit in between the 2 bottom holes on your AVA bead. I'm going to put this needle to the side. I'm going to pick up, we're going to pick up our left needle, and here we want to pick up a 15/0 seed bead. We'll let that drop down. We're going to grab an AVA bead, and on this side we're going to go through one of the bottom holes of the AVA bead. And we'll drop that down on our beadwork. Now with our left needle, we're going to go through these 3 beads that are sitting in between our AVA bead on the right. So we'll go through the demi round, the crystal, and the demi round. And then we're going to take our needle and we're going to go through the second bottom hole of the AVA bead that's on our left. So we're going through this this second bottom hole. And when you pull your thread down, this is what you will have. You'll have your 2 AVA beads, one on the left, one on the right, and in between those AVA beads you'll have the 3 beads sitting like that, the demi round, the rondelle crystal, and the demi round. I'm going to place this left needle to the side and working with the right needle, I'm going to pick up one more AVA bead and I'm going to go through one of the bottom holes of the AVA bead. So like that, and let that drop down. We want to pick up a 15-0 seed bead. We're going to pick up a DiscDuo bead, and we're going to let that drop down. I'm going to place this right needle to the side for a moment. Working with our left needle, we want to pick up an AVA bead, and we're going to do that by going through one of the bottom holes. And bring that down to our beadwork. We want to pick up a 15-0 seed bead, and then we're going to go through the other hole of our DiscDuo that we just added on. So we'll go through this second hole of our DiscDuo that's on the left. And that's what you'll have. Now these AVA beads will kind of flop around for a moment, but we'll take care of that later on in our project. Going back to work with our right needle, we want to pick up a 15-0 seed bead, and we want to pick up a RounDuo by going through one of the holes and let that drop down. Okay, we want to pick up a 15-0 seed bead, let that drop down. Now we want to pick up a rondelle bead, and at this time we're going to pick up the metallic gold color of our rondelles. We'll pick up a 15-0 seed bead. We're going to pick up a DiscDuo bead, followed by a 15-0 seed bead. And we're going to grab one more rondelle, one of the metallic gold colors of our rondelles. And let those drop down. So once again, we had a metallic gold rondelle, a 15-0, our DiscDuo, a 15-0, and then another metallic gold rondelle. We're going to come back over to this 15-0 that's sitting right before our RounDuo bead. We're going to go through the 15-0, we'll go through the RounDuo, and then we'll go through the 15-0 that's after, right after our RounDuo bead. And when you pull that, pull your thread for that, that is what you'll have. I'm going to place this needle to the side, and I'm going to do the same thing on the left side with my other needle. So I'm going to pick up a 15-0 seed bead, We're going to let that drop down. We're going to go through the second hole of our RounDuo bead. We'll pick up another 15-0 seed bead. Let that drop down. Now we want to pick up a metallic gold rondelle. Pick up a 15-0 seed bead. We want to pick up a DiscDuo. Pick up another 15-0. And then pick up another metallic gold rondelle bead. Let those beads drop down. We're going to come over to this 15-0 that's right before our RounDuo bead. We'll go through the 15-0. We're going to go through the RounDuo on this side of the beadwork. And then we're going to go through the 15-0 that follows that rondelle. Or I'm sorry, that RounDuo. When we pull, that is what we will have. So now I'm going to continue working with my left needle. We want to pick up a 15-0. Let that drop down. I'm sorry, we're not going to pick up a 15-0. Take the 15-0 off. We want to pick up a DiscDuo. Pick up a DiscDuo by going through one of the holes. And now we want to pick up a 15-0. So pick up a 15-0. We're going to pick up another AVA bead, and we're going to pick up this AVA bead by going through one of the bottom holes, but we're going to go through from the inside to the out. So we'll be going through, our the bottom hole of our AVA bead like that. And let that drop down. We want to pick up one more AVA bead on this side, and we're going to be going through one of the bottom holes of the AVA bead like that. Now we want to pick up a Demi round. We're going to pick up a rondelle. We're going to pick up one of our Tanzanite colored rondelles, and then we're going to pick up another Demi round. And our thread is going through the first hole of that AVA bead. We now want to take our needle and go through the second bottom hole of that same AVA bead. That's what you have right there. I'm going to place this left needle to the side, and then working again with the right needle. Our thread is coming out of the 15-0 seed bead that's after our RounDuo. We want to connect to this next DiscDuo on going through the hole that we haven't used yet. So go through the hole on the right for that DiscDuo. We want to pick up a 15-0 seed bead, and then we're going to pick up an AVA bead. So I'm going to let the 15-0 drop down, and we're going to pick up an AVA bead, and we're going to pick up this AVA bead by going through one of the bottom holes, but we're going to be going through the hole from the inside to the outside like that. And let that drop down. We want to pick up another AVA bead by going through one of the bottom holes, and we'll pick it up like that. And let that drop down. Okay, with this right needle, we want to go through the demi round. We're going to want to go through our rondelle crystal and then the demi round that follows it. So go through those 3 beads. And now we're going to go through the second hole of this last AVA bead that's on the right. So we'll go through the second hole of that AVA bead, the last one there on the right. And my thread got tangled, so I'm going to redo that. Okay, and when I pull on my thread, this is what you will have. Those 3 beads, that demi round, the crystal and the demi round, will sit in between those 2 AVA beads. Okay, working with one of our needles, I'm going to be working with the right needle. We want to pick up 2 15-0 seed beads, pick up one of your rondelle crystals, and then 2 more 15-0 seed beads. Then we're going to take our needle and go through the top hole of the AVA bead where our thread is exiting on the right. Here we want to pick up a 15-0, and then we're going to go through the top hole of the next AVA bead. Okay, here we're going to pick up another AVA bead. We're going to go through one of the bottom holes, and we're going to let that drop down such that the tip of the bead is going to face towards the center of the beadwork. We're going to pick up a demi round. We'll pick up a crystal and then another demi round. And then we're going to go through the second hole of that same AVA bead, the second bottom hole. And we'll pull that and push that down to our beadwork. We're going to repeat that 2 more times. So we'll pick up an AVA bead by going through one of the bottom holes. Pick up your demi round, your crystal, and another demi round, and go through the second hole of that same AVA bead. Whoops, my thread somehow got through the second hole before I added the beads. Alright, so I'm going to pick up those beads again and then go through that second hole. Repeat that 1 more time. Go through the bottom hole of an AVA bead. Pick up a demi round, a crystal, and then another demi round, and then go through the second hole of that same AVA bead. Okay, and that is what you will have. This AVA bead that's next to the one where our thread is exiting, we're going to go through the top hole. We'll pick up a 15/0 seed bead, and then we're going to come through the top hole of the next AVA bead. Here we want to pick up two 15/0 seed beads. We'll pick up one of our Rondelle crystal and then one more 15/0 seed bead. We'll let that drop down. And right here, right above this DiscDuo, there's another 15/0 seed bead. We're going to go through that 15/0 seed bead and then go through the AVA bead, the bottom hole of that AVA bead on the right. We'll pull. Now we want to take our needle and go through the rondelle, the demi round, the rondelle, and the demi round after it. I'm going to place this needle to the side, and then I'm going to do the same thing with our other needle on the other side. So here we're going to pick up two 15/0 seed beads. We'll pick up a rondelle and then two more 15/0 seed beads. Let those beads drop down. We're going to come back through the top hole of the AVA bead where a thread is exiting on the left. We'll pick up a 15/0 seed bead, and we're going to go through the top hole of this next AVA bead that's already there. And here we're going to pick up our AVA beads by going through the bottom hole. We'll let that one drop down. We'll pick up a demi round, a rondelle, and another demi round, and then go through the second hole of the same AVA bead we're working on. We're going to repeat that 2 more times. Go through the AVA bead, the bottom hole, pick up a demi round, one of your Rondelle crystals, and another demi round, and can go through the second bottom hole of that same AVA bead. And one more time, pick up another AVA bead by going through the bottom hole and let that drop down. Pick up a demi round, one of your Rondelle crystals, and another demi round. And we're going to go through the second hole of the AVA bead that we're working on. Here we want to go through the top hole of the next AVA bead that's already there. So go through the top hole of this AVA bead. We'll pick up one 15/0 seed bead, and then we're going to come through the top hole of the next AVA bead on this side. So we go through this top hole. We'll pick up two 15/0 seed beads. We'll pick up one of our crystal rondelles and then one more 15/0 seed bead. Let that drop down. Okay, the 15-0 CB on this side of our beadwork, that's right above our DiscDuo here. We're going to go through that 15-0, and then we're going to go through the AVA bead on this side. We want to take our needle that we're working with, and we're going to go through that demi round, that crystal, and the demi round following it. And that is what you'll have at this point. Okay, so I'm putting the needle on the left down. I'm going to pick up the right needle and work with this needle. Thread is exiting from this demi round, that from this group of 3 beads in between our AVA beads. On the AVA bead that's on the right, I'm going to go through that second bottom hole. And I'm going to go through the bottom hole of the AVA bead that sits right next to it. And here I'm going to pick up a demi round, a crystal, and another demi round. And then I'm going to go through the second hole of the AVA bead that we're already working with, where our thread is exiting from. So go through that second hole, the second bottom hole of that AVA bead. And that's what you'll have. We're going to pick up a 15-0 seed bead, and we're going to go through the top hole of this AVA bead that's right next to the one where our thread is exiting. So this AVA bead that was kind of hanging out, it's pointing to the center. We're going to go through the top hole of that AVA bead. We're just going to go through the top hole of the next 2 AVA beads. Okay. Here we are going to pick up a 15-0 seed bead. And then we're going to come back and go through, there's a DiscDuo right here that's kind of hanging out. We're going to go through the top, the other hole of the DiscDuo, the one that we haven't used yet. So go through that DiscDuo. We're going to pick up another 15-0 seed bead. And we're going to come over to the set of 3 AVA beads where the top hole is pointing to the center. We're going to go through the first one over here. So we're going to go through the top hole of that AVA bead. That's what you'll have. Go through the top hole of the next 2 AVA beads from that group of 3. We're going to pick up a 15-0 seed bead. And then there's an AVA bead that's next to the one where we're exiting from the top hole. We're going to go through that bottom hole of that next AVA bead. Okay, here we're going to pick up a demi round. We're going to pick up one of our Rondelle crystals and another demi round. And we're going to go through the second bottom hole of the AVA bead where our thread is exiting from right now. So go through the second hole of that AVA bead. Oops. My thread came off my needle. So go through the second hole of that AVA bead. Alright, so the AVA bead, the next AVA bead, you're going to go through that first bottom hole, and then you're going to go through the demi round, the crystal, and the demi round, and then go through the second bottom hole of the AVA bead on the right side. So you're going to go through that second bottom hole of the AVA bead on the right. Pull your pull your thread. All right, now I'm going to put this needle to the side. I'm going to come over and work with my other needle. So I'm exiting this grouping of 3 beads. I'm going to come through and go through the second hole of the AVA bead on the left. I'm going to go through the bottom hole of the AVA bead that's sitting right next to it. And here I'm going to pick up a demi round, a crystal, and another demi round, and I'm going to go through the other bottom hole of the AVA bead where our thread is exiting. I'm going to pick up a 15-0 seed bead. I'm going to go through the top hole of this next AVA bead. Go through the top hole of the next 2 AVA beads. I'm going to pick up a 15-0 seed bead. We're going to go through this DiscDuo bead, the hole where we haven't used yet, so we'll go through that DiscDuo bead right there. Pick up another 15-0. I'm going to come back over to the set of 3 AVA beads that are pointing inward. We're going to go through that the top hole of the first one, and then we're going to go through the next 2 AVA beads going through the top hole. We're going to pick up a 15-0 seed bead, and we're going to come through the bottom hole of this next AVA bead. Alright, we'll pick up a demi round, a crystal, and a demi round, and we're going to go through the second bottom hole of the AVA bead where a thread is exiting right now. So we go through the second bottom hole of that AVA bead. And then we're going to go through this bottom hole of the AVA bead that follows. We're going to come through the 3 beads in between our AVA beads, so we'll go through that demi round, the crystal, and the demi round. And then we're going to go through the next hole of the AVA bead on the left, over on this side, the side we're working on. And that's what you have. Okay, going back to working with our right needle, we're exiting out of the second hole of this AVA bead right here. We're actually just going to come around on the edge of our the pendant part of our necklace and kind of just reinforce those beads. So we'll go through these 2 15-0s, go through our rondelle, And then go through the 15 O's here, and then I'm also going to go through the AVA bead as well, the top hole of that AVA bead. I'm going to go through the 15 O in between these two AVA beads, and I'm actually going to go through the next, the top hole of the next AVA bead, and go through your AVA bead right here, and then go through the Demi round, the crystal, and then the next Demi round, and we're going to repeat that. Going through these AVA beads and then the beads that sit sit in between the two holes of the AVA bead. And sometimes you may have to just slightly bend your beadwork to get the needle in between those AVA beads. Alright. Okay, so I'm coming out of this AVA bead right here. I'm going to go through the top hole of this AVA bead and then go through this 15 O seed bead and then go through the top hole of the next AVA bead. And here we just want to go through the two 15 O's, and then we'll go through just the rondelle. We'll put this needle to the side, and we're going to do the same thing on this side. We're just going to go around and go through kind of the outer edge of the beadwork, and we're going to exit from the rondelle right here, just like on the other side. So now that we've gone through the beads on the edge of our beadwork, our thread is coming out of our rondelle beads here on both sides. I'm going to turn over the beadwork, and for the most part, the pendant portion of our necklace is completed. And now we're going to begin to work on the sides of the necklace. So, working with my right needle, we want to, the threads coming out of the rondelle bead, we're going to pick up a 15 O seed bead. We're going to pick up a RounDuo bead. We'll pick up one more 15 O seed bead, and we're going to pick up one of our rondelle beads, and we're going to pick up the metallic gold color, and we'll let that drop down. And we're going to kind of repeat this pattern. We'll pick up a 15 O seed bead, we'll pick up a RounDuo bead, we'll pick up another 15 O seed bead, and we'll pick up a rondelle bead. And this time we're going to pick up one of the Tanzanite colored rondelle beads. So we're going to alternate the color of our rondelle beads. Again, we'll pick up a 15 O, a RounDuo. I'm just going to go through one of the holes of the RounDuo at this point. We'll pick up another 15 O, and then we'll pick up a rondelle, and this time we're going to get the metallic gold rondelle. So here we'll pick up a 15 O, a RounDuo, a 15 O, and then a Tanzanite rondelle. And we're going to repeat this pattern for the length of the side of the necklace that we need. So I finished adding on those beads for the necklace, and if I'm counting just the RounDuo beads that were added, I added on a total of 25 RounDuo beads. And then you'll have your rondelles and your 15 O's in between those RounDuos. So we're going to end the strand with a RounDuo bead. And coming out of that RounDuo bead, I picked up 36 15 O seed beads. And this will be, we'll use these beads to form the loop for our clasp. I now want to come back through the second hole of that last RounDuo bead and pull. Now we want to pick up another 15-0 seed bead. We want to pick up another rondelle bead, and we're going to pick up a rondelle bead that's the same color as the one that's going to be sitting next to right here. So I have a 15-0, my rondelle. I'm going to pick up another 15-0, and then we're going to go through the second hole, or that empty hole of the next RounDuo bead. Okay, again, I'm going to pick up a 15-0, and this time I'm going to pick up one of my metallic gold rondelles and another 15-0, and then I'll sew through the second hole of the next RounDuo bead. And you're going to repeat that pattern all the way back down to the end of this side of the necklace. Okay, so now that we finished adding the rondelle crystals through the and the 15-0s through the second hole of the RounDuos on this side, our thread right now is exiting from the second hole of the last RounDuo that's closest to our pendant. And one thing I want to mention is that I did have to add thread along while I was doing this side of the necklace. So I just pretty much added in thread and then tied it to the existing thread, just a single knot for now. I'm going to put this needle and thread to the side for a moment. I'm going to go back to working with the needle and thread for the other side and start working on that. So right now that thread is exiting from the rondelle that's on our pendant. And we're going to do the same thing on this side. We're going to pick up a 15-0 seed bead. We'll pick up a RounDuo. We'll pick up a 15-0 seed bead. And then we're going to pick up a rondelle crystal, and our colors are going to match what we did on this side. So I'm going to be picking up a metallic gold rondelle right now and let that drop down. And we'll just repeat the pattern: a 15-0, a RounDuo, a 15-0, and then one of our Tanzanite rondelle crystals, and let that drop down. And then you'll just repeat this pattern on this side of the necklace, the same as you did for the other side. Once you have all your beads added on the second side of your necklace, and again, if you're just counting the RounDuos, it should be 25 RounDuos, or at least that's how many I put on for the length of my necklace. It's time to add our button for our clasp. So exiting out of the last RounDuo, we'll pick up 5 15-0 seed beads. And let those drop down. And then we're going to go through one of the holes on our cut button. We'll pick up 1 Demi round, 3 15-0s, and 1 more Demi round. Let those drop down. And then we're going to go through the second hole, that other hole on our cut button. Now we want to pick up 5 15-0 seed beads. And let those drop down. And we're going to go through the second hole of the last RounDuo on that side of the necklace. And now what we want to do is add in our 15-0s and our crystals, our rondelles, in between the second hole of our RounDuos on this side. So I'll pick up a 15-0. I'm going to pick up a rondelle and then another 15-hole, making sure that the rondelle I pick up matches the one that it's going to sit next to. And then we'll sew through the second hole of our next RounDuo bead. So continue to add on your 15-0s and your rondelles on this side of the necklace. Okay, so now that I finish adding all the beads on the second side of our necklace, right now we have our threads coming out of this last RounDuo that's closest to our pendant, coming out of the second hole. So we have a thread on each side that does that. Working with just one needle on the right side, I'm going to pick up a 15-0 and I'm going to sew through the top hole, or the hole we haven't used yet, of this DiscDuo that's at the top of the pendant piece. So we'll sew through that, and that will connect this side of the necklace to that DiscDuo. We'll pick up another 15-0 and we're going to come up through the RounDuo, the second hole of the RounDuo on this side. I'm going to put this needle to the side. I'll pick up this needle and I'm going to go through that 15-0 we just added. Go through the DiscDuo and then go through the 15-0 on the other side of the DiscDuo. And pull tight, and that is what you'll have. So now what we want to do is, with this thread that we have, we want to go up. We want to go up one side of this strand of our necklace. Go up this one side. We'll go up and around our loop to reinforce our loop, and then we're going to come back down the other side of this strand. And once we finish that, we'll be coming down at this point, and we can tie off and end our thread for that side of the necklace. With our other needle, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to come up one side of this strand. So go up through all those beads again to reinforce. Once you do that, you'll come up to your cut button, go up through the beads of the 5 seed beads under the cut button, go up and around the cut button through those beads and back down on the other side. And then you'll just go through all the beads on the other side of the strand to reinforce. And again, once you get back down towards the pendant, you'll tie a couple of knots and you will end off your thread. So here's the finished necklace, and I'm really pleased with how this came out. I think the colors that we use work really, really well together. Once again, this is the AVA Allure necklace. If you need any of the materials used in this design, you can go online to PotomacBeads.com or PotomacBeads.eu. We would love to see what you make using this design, and we invite you to join the Potomac Bead Company's Beading and Jewelry Making Facebook group, where you can interact with others in the beading and jewelry making community. Thank you for watching this tutorial.